No, I was sitting here with our yeah. Yep.
Did you hand out something from Saul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you send it to me?
Right.
Was it in the packet?
It's in the packet, it's on the website right now.
Oh, okay.
I just handed it out to them because I didn't know how many of them were gonna be able to access the packet again. No, it's just the local, it's the low bidders.
Okay.
They're friends, we appreciate them.
But I have to download it.
Back and those things.
Clock calls to order, to stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Mulebauer,
Here.
Councilmember Robinson,
Here.
Udvig, here.
And with that, we will entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make that motion, Mr.
Motion
Mayor.
by Councilmember Udvig, do we have a second?
I will second.
Second by Robinson, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Before we entertain a motion for the consent agenda, we will be pulling an L. I have a direct conflict if I have an address on license approval. So with that being said, the motion to approve, I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. Removing item L.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ludwig. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I guess at this time we will entertain a motion, which I will abstain from for item L. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion here.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ludwig, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0-1 maybe, and then an abstention. Moving on, we have meeting open to the public. Do we have anybody?
We have Steve Kane.
Council, staff, thank you for this opportunity. Before I get started, I just want to say, we all know how horrible a winter we had last year, and I want to say the Public Works guys did an absolutely phenomenal job, in my opinion, of keeping everything cleared. You beat my wildest expectations, so I know it's late, but since I've retired, I'm practicing procrastination. And I'm doing quite well in it. Anyway, the reason I'm here tonight, the chief asked me to stop by and talk a little bit about a new program we're doing with the police department. I am a volunteer in a very small group that builds wooden cars and trucks up near Clearwater, Minnesota. My friend who has this operation has been doing this for over 10 years in Las Vegas. He winters down there, and we got this started here late last year, and we're in full force running this year. What we do is we manufacture these cars Everything that we get here is donated to us. We manufacture these for law enforcement. St. Francis now has cars in every single squad that we have. What they're for is for the children. If you have to remove kids from a domestic temporarily or a car accident, you can give the kids something to do to help take their mind off of it. Or if an officer is going down the street and sees a couple kids with mom or dad and just wants to stop over and say, "Hi, I'm Officer so-and-so, would you like to have a car?" Build more goodwill, another tool in the officers' bags for working with the children and just goodwill in the community. These are built out of solid oak. The only part purchased are the axles and the wheels. We build everything else, we cut it, we sand it, we grind it, and then they're dipped in a food grade mineral oil. So these are completely safe. The outfit in Nevada has built over 600,000 of these without one problem with a child. So if I may approach, I'd like to put this down, let you pass it around, take a look at them. And I would entertain any questions that you might have.
Questions?
Not all at once, though, please.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you for doing this.
I have no questions other than gratitude. Thanks again for doing that. Again, a little piece of, a little token like that sometimes we can divert some emotions in another direction and actually save some time and some conversation that wouldn't have to take place, so.
Due to the location, we supplied much of central Minnesota law enforcement with these now, and currently we're working on an order for the Sherburne County, Minnesota Highway Patrol. So if you need more, chief, don't be afraid. You know.
Just want to publicly say we appreciate it. They are in our squad and I think they're gonna be popular. Thank you again.
By the way, that happens to be a Corvette. Out of about a dozen models that we make, 2 happen to be Corvettes.
I think it's pretty cool.
That's great.
And, one thing, can we get your address for the record as well?
23104 Ronnie Street Northwest.
Thank you.
All right, with that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good, anybody else?
Anthony Colby?
Thanks for hearing me. I just have a couple of issues to bring up.
Can we get your name and address for the record too?
Anthony Colby,
Thank you.
I go by Colby. My address was 4852 239th Avenue Northwest. I just want to know your position on the green energy agenda. I heard a report that's not working over in Europe. The ESG ratings have neutral to negative effects on the carbon footprint, no matter what you use to evaluate it. And I don't know how true that is, but someone should look at it. And thorium reactors look promising. I think EVs have negative effects, so I wouldn't want us to try to do this by 2050 and have all EVs, but I want to get one, you know. It's just a matter of resources and where we get them. And one concept in house design is that you need 2 home offices in today's houses. So if you were building a house today, you would be compelled to put 2 home offices in it. And there's a ton of other stuff I'd like to talk to you about, but that's what I'll bring up here. Thanks for hearing me.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
I would say at this time, I don't think the city has an official stance on the green energy project. I mean, I think we all have our personal opinions on that, but if you're asking me personally, I would just say that, I think renewable energy could be a good thing. I think obviously there's a lot to think about similar to, you know, how the state pushed, say, the marijuana deal, they pushed it through and didn't really think it all the way through. I think there's a lot of issues with the green energy
Can I get
situation.
back up here?
Go ahead.
Okay, about the cannabis issue, I don't know what side you're on, but wherever they do it in the state, I was hoping they could replicate Michigan's dispensary business. There's a company called Lumi or Loom, and I saw their prices. And that would keep a lot of people out of trouble, but it's like a third than you'd pay in Colorado.
That'd be something you'd have to talk to your state representatives about.
Okay.
The ones that push
Yeah, I don't
it.
know. It sounded like we could do it here, and I contacted the company, invited them out here and told them I'd like to replicate it or have them out here, but that's another issue.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Okay. With that, we'll move on to new business. Item A, capital improvement bond sale, fire station, city hall.
Mayor and council before you tonight is the sale of the bonds, they accepted bids today. And Dan is here from Ellers, he will talk about the sale.
Well, good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. As mentioned, my name is Dan Tincher. I'm the municipal advisor, with Ellers and Associates. As you may recall, this journey began a little while ago, at least from the financing perspective for the bonds. Back in October of 2022, the council adopted a capital improvement program. Among the items included in that program was the consideration of the issuance of up to $13 million in capital improvement plan bonds to support the design and construction of a joint city hall fire station project. On June 20th, you may recall I was here at that point in time, the council officially called for the sale of those bonds, and earlier today, at your direction and on your behalf, we solicited bids from qualified banks and underwriters for the sale of $15 million of general obligation capital improvement plan bonds. I'm happy to report that the city received 6 bids, which is a little bit higher than what we normally see. Usually we see 3 to 5. And ultimately, the winning bidder submitted a true interest cost, or essentially the interest that you'll pay on the bonds over their life, at 4.1007%. To put that in perspective, when we discussed the project at pre-sale in June, we were estimating an adjusted true interest cost of 4.891%, or about 77 basis points lower that we saw at the sale than what the council considered as part of the call for sale. There was also a small premium that was attached to the bonds. And if you'd like, we can definitely talk about what exactly that means and how it all works. But essentially, the underwriter was willing to pay a little bit more for your bonds than the face value which they were offered. And ultimately, after working with staff, the city accepted the premium of just under $155,000. Those will be additional monies that the city may use to support the cost of the project. In total, because of the lower amount of interest, or the lower interest rate that we estimated at pre-sale, the total principal interest on the bond will be about $2 million lower than what was originally estimated. And the average annual levy will work out to about $825,000 per year, or fairly close to the $817 that was the target established by the city council and city staff. But in total, compared to pre-sale, the average annual levy will be about $75,000 less per year. So with that stated, and because of the number of bids and the strength of the sale, we are recommending this evening that the city council consider adopting the resolution included in your package to award the sale of $15 million of general obligation capital improvement bonds, series 2023A. And of course, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have on the bond sale or any of the ins and outs of the bonds themselves. Thank you.
Questions, Kevin?
No, I had none this time. I know we've looked at this over the last 12 months after talking about the building. I don't know the numbers as well as State Darcy would, but I'm satisfied with what I see here. I'm happy to see some of the changes going lesser than rather than greater than. So that's all I have.
Sure.
I have another comment for you. Thank you.
I would just thank you for all your hard work. Obviously, coming in less is always better for the people, for Slavia. I'm happy to hear that. So, I don't have any further questions.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that is the news we also like to hear. It is not always the case, admittedly.
So with that, I guess we will entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-39 awarding the sale of general obligation capital improvement bonds, series 2023A. The original aggregation principal amount of $13 million. Fixing their form and specifications, directing their execution and delivery, and providing for their payment.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Udvig. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Congratulations on your bond sale. And as I told Darcy earlier today, I would like a tour, so I'll be back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
That way we'll move on to item B, the City Hall Fire Station Facility.
Mayor and council, before you tonight is the final contract pieces for the City Hall Fire Station facility construction with Stahl. They have provided us the low bid cost numbers. We have worked through some additional changes with the building committee. And will, with now the bond seats, be able to proceed with that construction. The building committee has been through many of these pieces, but beyond that, we are hosting a ceremony for the groundbreaking Wednesday, August 9th at 2 o'clock. And then we will also spend tomorrow moving fire from the existing building over to the public works facility. And demolition on the existing fire station will start as soon as Monday with the power being cut. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Sarah?
I don't have any questions. I'm just really excited that we're able to move this forward. It's a big step for our city. So I'm really excited.
Kevin?
I have no questions other than the statement that it's a long time coming, it's been 18 months plus. The work behind the scenes, we have toured the new temporary housing for the fire department. And been to several events at the old place and through the open houses that we've had, and tried as much as we've tried to do the public information. And those who wanted to be involved were involved, meaning citizens. Those who did not, chose to hopefully let us guide this project through the way it was meant to be done. And the good start is that the money is coming less than it would normally would have. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that does get talked about during meetings of manpower and lady power and hours put into this. So everybody involved, just a large thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I don't have any questions. My comments are just to kind of, give my stance on everything. I think for me, we definitely need a new fire department. There's no question about that. You can debate whether or not the city hall needs to be redone, but I think if we're going to do it, we need to do it right, do it all together. That's going to save us money. This process in general, for me, moved a little bit faster than I was comfortable with. I think we did start a little soon after the liquor store was done. But I think too, we're at a point now that it would actually be more irresponsible to try to wait on it. If we do wait on it, we're gonna end up basically charging our taxpayers for however long we wait for nothing. In this case, we get it moving and start paying the bonds off, obviously, which we've already kind of done, which as far as pushing the bonds forward for sale, so that's where we're at. I think I look forward to seeing the building being done, hopefully sooner than later, and save some money there, but time will tell. This is all just one resolution, is that right? For all the make sure. So with that, we will entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-40. Awarding, authorizing the assignment of construction contract for St. Francis City Hall Fire Station project. Do we have a motion?
I'll make one, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Udvig, do we have a second?
I'll gladly second, Mayor.
Second by Robinson, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And meeting to the open to the public, number 2, do we have any?
Okay.
Or, okay, we do.
Nope, so, sorry, the items B through F still
Yeah.
need to be addressed individually.
That's what I was asking.
Okay, sorry, I didn't.
All right,
Yes, you jumped just ahead a little bit.
so B was right, so now we are on the builder's risk control.
Here on C, correct. Before you tonight, Mayor and Council, is the cost for our builder's risk insurance. We found that we could get it at less expensive of a rate than a stall could. So our next step would be to secure our builder's risk. Happy to answer any questions.
Sarah,
I have no questions on this one.
Kevin?
I have any questions, Mayor.
I don't have any further questions either. It looks like it's cheaper going this way. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve item C, builder's risk insurance.
Make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Edvick. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Special inspection and testing.
Yes, Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the quotes for special inspections and testing. This is to inspect throughout the project process of soil, concrete, and steel and specialty items. We received 2 costs. We have chosen Valley as our low bidder. They are also the ones that did our soil testing in the beginning. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Kevin?
No questions.
Sarah?
No questions.
I don't have any further questions either. I think we did talk about this throughout the building committee as well. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to approve, excuse me. Item D, special inspection and testing.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Edvick. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item E, access and tree maintenance agreement.
Yes, Mayor and Council, before you tonight is a property access agreement for the property that is directly south of where our new facility will go. This is so we can access the properties to remove a couple trees and then to also do some pulling back of the branches. So there isn't the impact on our site or project. We have had initial conversations with this property owner, so this would be the next phase in working with them. With that, we're happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Councilmember Edvick?
I have no.
Kevin?
I have no questions, Mayor.
No questions either. It's pretty straightforward, I think, in the packet. So with that, we'll entertain a motion for item E, access to tree maintenance agreement.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Edvick. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And item F is the City Hall Fire Station audio. From what I understand, we have more information coming forward, so I will make a motion to continue that until the next meeting.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Edvick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we have to move to the public for the second. I try not to get ahead of myself.
No, that's okay.
Had I done that, I would have seen that.
There's no one else.
Thank you. And reports, we have community development Q2 report.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the Q2 report for the Community Development Department. I will just walk through a few highlights of the Q2 and leave the rest of the details to the packet or any questions that you have. So the first section is all on economic development. The biggest thing with the first point of economic development is the Bridge Street Corridor project continuing, and I think we just took a giant step to the Bridge Street Corridor project moving forward, in the City Hall building being the sort of setting the vision for the corridor, and many of the site plan approvals went through in the Q2, and so they were sort of the test case for many of the new zoning code standards that we have for Bridge Street. Another thing in economic development is the Vista Prairie project. So in Q2, the update continued being like, oh, they're looking for financing and that sort of thing. We did just hear this last week that they do think that they have gotten their financing all in order. So they gave a date of 2 weeks from last week that they should have their financing together. And also their building permit came in too. So once we get the go ahead from them, they should be ready to build here. So that's very exciting as well. With the Patriot Parkway project, also an economic development project of the department, that project had a lot of moving partners to be working with, of different developers in the church. And unfortunately, with the Minnesota construction season and public bid process, the construction of that road will be delayed to future years. We are hoping to shift those funds into 2024, but that'll continue discussions through Q3. The last sort of update within economic development was that in the second quarter, the farmers market did get off the ground and get started. So that's been every Wednesday in Community Park from 3 to 7, and it continues going until September 13th, if anyone is interested in coming. We started off pretty small at the beginning of the season with about 6 vendors there, and now we've increased to having 18 vendors total, with more like 12 being there each week. So kind of filling out both sides of the farmers market aisle. And one of the goals I feel particularly excited about in this project is sort of part of the mission statement of the farmers market from the start was to also encourage entrepreneurship within St. Francis. And 6 of the 18 vendors, this is their first time selling their products in public. So the first time sort of getting off the ground and moving ahead, and all those people are here in St. Francis too. So that's pretty fun. By way of land use development, the 2 sort of largest projects within residential and land use development, one of them continues to be the Bluffs. So that project through Q2, they had to go back to their investors, given the changes in the housing market, and get a new investment pool, actually. So they renegotiated with the seller of the land a deal through the end of July. And so we should be hearing sort of how that goes here this week, pretty soon. And while they were working on that, we also worked with the engineering team and the public works team to put together a plan for how the sewer and water utilities will work through that site. So the Bluffs will be critical to helping to extend sewer and water to the north and the west, but just sort of how to do that the most efficiently and effectively was a pretty long and lengthy discussion between engineering and public works and community development. So, and then the other sort of residential land use development that worked through the process in the second quarter was the Serenity at Sealy Brook project. So that one received its rezoning and comp plan approval in Q2. And it should receive its preliminary plat approval or review by City Council and Planning Commission in Q3. By way of commercial development, the subdivision for the Meadows Fourth worked through its final iteration within Q2. That one had also been a project that was a long time coming. And as all of you have probably seen, the construction for the Dollar General project in that subdivision started in Q3. Also in commercial development, there was a code amendment requested IUP for private parking for the dental office on Bridge Street in Q2, and construction of that parking lot is expected in Q3. We just received a parking lot for it at the end of last week. By way of building permits for new construction are down pretty significantly year over year. To date, we've had 10 new construction permits. At this time in 2022, we've had 27, and at this time in 2021, we had 26. Staff expects that this is due to higher interest rates and also the lack of local lots within the city. So in the Q1 report, we had a pretty detailed analysis of sort of where the total lots were at. And we did get some additional lots officially sort of come on board into availability with River's Edge 6. Starting construction, that was also important too, but getting the road built out. And so we have received some more building permits within Q3 in connection with River's Edge 6, but I do anticipate that in general, 2023 building permits will probably be lower than 2022. Our total permits, however, are staying strong. So this is showing people are maintaining, investing in their property. We still continue to get a lot of over-the-counter permits for re-siding and re-roofs, which are very important maintenance items to continue doing in a house to keep the housing stock strong in St. Francis. For code enforcement, we have 34 properties active in code enforcement. In quarter two, the city council did issue an extension to allow for a property to extend longer than the standard time allowed in code. That property did follow the remediation schedule that was presented to council and is now in compliance. That was exciting to see sort of really follow the process through on that. For rentals and vacants, we continue to have people working on their corrections for getting their rentals approved that were inspected earlier this year. For vacant properties, we have 3 registered vacant properties. The most notable of these is Rumwater Inn. So in quarter two is when the city took the emergency action to secure the building as a vacant property. We do continue to receive calls from people who are interested in the Rumwater Inn property, and staff in the second quarter really took some time to work through, okay, what are the ways that we can entertain all of the different ideas that we get from people on this property, and what is possible and keeps the property in line with the vision for that area as well. For planning commission met all 3 months, and it now has the full commission. So the city council appointed a final member to that commission in the second quarter, and it's now full. Administration wise, staff submitted the big RFI submittal to BSNA, and that was a large hurdle, and we have received very good feedback from BSNA that our team did a good job in putting together those materials. So big shout out to Lisa and Jody for their attention to detail and tenacity in working through all of the details of that. And staff also has been following what's been going on with the state legislature and keeping an eye out for different ways that the legislative actions will impact our work in the city, our local development patterns, and also our local businesses, and finding ways to work with the chamber on getting that content out to the businesses too, that will impact their operation in the coming years. And with that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Yeah, any questions coming?
Well, let me get some. No, very good report, very thorough. Appreciate your enthusiasm again on the farmer's market, how it, again, flourished, that's awesome. Just a general comment, Dollar General, again, when the land manager, or land agent for Dollar General was here, I think they started a year and a half ago. But nevertheless, I asked him, how they're supporting one store already, or trying to support. They have employee issues, et cetera, et cetera. I said, you're gonna keep 2 stores going? He was not in the know, and that wasn't his pay grade, he couldn't tell me, so. I'm only hoping for the best. I know that one across town is utilized quite a bit. They're gonna put another one in here. I don't know how many towns have 2 of them, but we'll see how it goes. Again, commerce is good for our city. I mean, we encourage it. So other than that, also I see that the hardware store, you talked about the dental clinic or orthodontist parking lot. The hardware is living up there into the bargain, so that looks like it's cleaning up. I see some of them going alongside their building now, but I trust him.
We got a new property owner on that as well.
Yeah, well, there's some activity, so it's better, but yeah. So, other than that, no, very good report. Again, appreciate your enthusiasm and keep up the good work. It's nice to hear some positivity out of Mr. Curry portion, and other than that, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Kevin, Sarah?
Yes, great report. Yeah, I've heard from multiple people how much they are enjoying the farmers market, and they're extremely thrilled that we finally got one. So I'm very happy about that. Yeah, other than that, the only other question I had was, so it says in one of the legislative updates, it says religious organization is allowed to establish a community of micro units of housing on their property for low income and or chronically homeless individuals. So by that, I'm hoping that they mean like you have to be like established, like somebody can't just say, I'm opening the church of Sarah and when people come moving on my property. Is that correct? Because I did have someone come and ask me about that. So I just need to.
Did I ask you about
It's
your
an-
church?
Not all my church showing up, they just asked, like, well, does that mean somebody can just say, you know, you can get ordained online if you're a pastor. So they were asking if that would mean that somebody could actually like, say, I'm having church at my house and now I can. So I didn't want to clarify that.
That is a very good question. Yeah, regarding how that would be. I
don't know why people ask.
It looks like Dave is ready to chime in, so I'll let him officially provide his thoughts, but yeah.
And it has to be a sacred community in a church, synagogue, mosque, or other religious organization under, organized under chapter 3. So there is a definitional component to that.
Yeah, have to be officially established.
That's the question, I will.
Good report, Colette. Thank you again. Disappointed to hear about the Patriot Parkway that's moving forward, but hopefully that's still gonna be a good thing. Excited to hear the good news about this Prairie. Again, thinking and actually having it ready to go. That'll be much more exciting, but happy to hear that. I've heard good things about the farmers market. I get to attend now. Thank you for that as well. But that's what I have at this time. So thank you. And we'll go to Public Works for the report.
Mayor, council, the first quarter, we talked about a lot of snow. That got stopped at that point. Second quarter this year was a lot of repair work. Public Works hauled in about 800 ton of gravel to fix our gravel roads. We had a lot of damage on those, as well as the asphalt. Like I had mentioned before the meeting, we typically put down a couple of ton. The roads are usually in pretty decent shape. We put a couple of ton of cold patch, and this year there was 20 ton. That problem was substantiated in other cities as well. Just, we were wondering what we were doing wrong. And as we looked around, it wasn't what we were doing wrong. It's what Mother Nature did wrong. So we're not alone in that fight. We're going to continue trying to improve that situation. One of the other things that we've been battling this year is the drought. It slowed mowing down a little bit. So what we've done is we've spent more time working in the parks, cleaning them, trimming trees, looking ahead, taking a closer look at what we're going to need to do in the parks with the upcoming budget. So we have suggestions. One of the things we've done, we worked with 3 different people. A couple of weeks ago, we did interviews for the commission. Very excited about it. It won't be too long. I'll have those names in front of you. So we're working in that direction right now. On Friday, last week, the Mississippi Headwaters watershed, the DNR sent out the drought, it's called the drought warning response phase. We actually had to move on it today. Public Works we sent out the letter today. We're restricting it down to basically 1 day of water a week. Essentially what we're trying to do is take it from 30 million gallons of water a month to 17. So it's a pretty serious drop. It's gauged by the Mississippi Headwaters, not necessarily what's in the aquifer. So it's downstream, what they're looking at. Just want everybody aware of it. We're putting it on social media, hopefully the website here today, just in case someone calls wondering why. This envelops everyone. We're doing it in Public Works as well. So to protect our water sources. So just be aware of that. One of the other things that happened this spring was really interesting, which is crazy. I mean, how can I talk about high waters at one point, washing out roads, and then a drought? You know, I mean, the extremes, it's incredible. Irregardless, technically on 245th, it's a shared Stanford road, and I capitalized on that. Well, staff capitalized on the opportunity here this spring to work with Stanford. And now that we have that road agreement, as you can see on consent today, we finally get to work on roads that we haven't worked on for years. And that'll begin, I'll begin tomorrow. I'll call them tomorrow and we'll start working together to set up CIP programs and whatever for the other roads that we work with those folks on. We were able to get all the lines renewed in the city, City Hall, Bottle Shop, Public Works. So just kind of refresh them a little bit. I'm a big fan of renewing what we have, fixing what we have. We gave the Public Works PD a facelift, cleaned it up. It was in dire need of it after a few years. Unfortunately, sometimes when you don't pay attention to what you have, things can get out of control. And I want to make sure that we're, we always take care of what we have in the city. So the facelift, it looks nice, turn out well, be easy to care for. The 4020 building, getting that ready was a challenge this year, but I have to give a shout out to Snuffy and Deb from Stall. Amazing working with them. I believe you're over there today. I mean, it turned out well. It'll be a little bit cramped, but I think that it's better than what an alternative could have been. So I think it turned out pretty well. Really appreciate Snuffy's help in particular on that. He's here tonight, so thank you, Snuffy. Appreciate your help. We had 2 recycle events since the last report, both with 242 vehicles and 116. Our oil bin that we've been waiting for over a year is actually at Public Works, kind of a neat story, real quick. On the side of it, it said public waste oil here on the side of that. Well, just that sign on it inside the cage had generated, we were getting multiple phone calls. We actually had to take the sign down because they wanted to be let in. People were waiting. So when the police and whoever was leaving, they wanted to come in and dump their oil. So obviously it's going to be a really good deal. It's got a lot of attention. A couple of things about stormwater. Public Works and the police department are all on enlisted discharge. Everybody's trained in now. A few other things that are happening with stormwater this year. The Delwood River project is moving. Finally, it's starting to get some traction. I've been working with Jamie at the Anoka Conservation District there. I've got some rain gardens that we're planning on. We're working with the school along Rum River Boulevard. We're going to be working on that ditch there for a waterway, changing that in for, we'll try to fix it up. So that'll be a couple things you'll see happening. This spring we flushed 400 hydrants. And sometimes when you flush hydrants, you create problems, the shock of the water, the different pressure levels and whatnot. It wasn't too long after we flushed hydrants over in the Arrowhead street. There was a leak. We thought it was a service leak. Turned out it was our main. Crazy story. You never know what you're going to find when we got down to the main. Loose bolts. That's why it was leaking. It was that simple to fix. I wish they were all like that, but that's not how it always works out. We worked with, we were able to give DW a chance to work with us on that job. They did very well. We'll be using them again if we can. We had Scout Troop 511 clean some storm ponds for us. We tried something new this year. Jen's been reaching out. They did an amazing job. There was a lot of garbage in those ponds. I couldn't believe it when they were done. So it was pretty cool to have the community volunteer. And they volunteered. They wanted to help us out in one way, shape, or form. And what a great way to get involved. So they did it in the spring before everything grew up. So they were able to clean it. They did a thorough job. So let's see. Wastewater Water hosted a gal, Paige, I think Paige Aldrich was her name, from the St. Cloud Tech for an internship. I wish we would have 50 of these kids come through, but she's the only one. No, we've actually reached out to St. Parish, reached out to St. Cloud Tech. She was the only one in the program. She wanted to see what it was like to be a wastewater operator. She did really well. She spent 2 weeks with us. Enjoyable young lady. Be lucky. Whoever's working with would be really lucky. She's a really great person to work with. And then on the report, the last page is a certificate accommodation from the MPCA for Parish and his group for exceptional compliance. And if anyone knows the MPCA, it's all about compliance. And he nailed it. His team nailed it. Jake Olson, who was on the team before that, and Brian. So it was a cumulative effort amongst all the wastewater operators. And I just want to publicly congratulate them. It's a really hard award to get. and it is hanging, the first one is hanging, finally is hanging in our wastewater facility. That's all I have this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Kara?
Great reports. Yeah, I was very pleased to see that certificate of accommodation, so please let them know. Workers know how much we appreciate all their hard work.
I will.
They're doing an excellent job on keeping our parks looking good and just, yeah, I'm sure that they're enjoying some of the some of the not having to mow as much, but hopefully we can get some rain and this drought can go away. But I do ask our residents to be patient with it. We're all, the city's not gonna be up watering, so please just remember that. The fire hydrants, it's nice to see some fresh paint on some of them. They do get, they do get kind of worn out looking, so it's really nice to see. And I know this winter too, as people dug them out, people did continue to put little hats on there, and sometimes I would see somebody walking around with one on, so they must have needed one. So that's kind of a cool thing that people do. So
Sarah? Kevin?
A very good report, Paul. It's interesting to see your enthusiasm. Again, you actually sat in the lawnmower chairs and you've sat behind the Bobcats and you've done everything you guys have been doing, so. And the enthusiasm level didn't drop when you took over the department. It's, you can tell with the parish and the rest of the guys that they enjoy coming to work and take it seriously. And the combination is very nice to see. To be recognized for your work is always something special, especially by an agency that large. And I'm sure they're not easy to get, but no, very good report. Just keep up the good work and please extend our gratitude to the guys and gals working for you that with the good work. Thank you.
I'd echo the support from the council, definitely pass that on. I don't think we have any doubt in Parrish's work or Jeremy as well. They've been solid for us, at least since I've been on the council. Doing a great job. I like you said, it's the first award, which means there's more to come.
Exactly right.
I like that mindset that you said that. I was gonna ask you to touch on some more of the stormwater things, given that the stormwater fee is such a hot topic that everybody loves when they get the mailing. So you already kind of touched on some of that with Delwood, but do you have any more?
So the Delwood, well, I've been getting information from Craig as well, so I'm assuming that's going to move this fall. Things are looking pretty good. You're gonna notice the Delwood project because when you stand at the bridge, it's gonna be super visible and look to the south. That whole corner is gonna change. You weren't gonna be able to miss it. There'll be a lot of phone calls on what's going on in Delwood. I guarantee you, it's a huge project. One of the other big ones that I've been working with them on, I mentioned rain gardens. So we tried working with residents. It's no cost to the residents. And because of the certain situations, their property with gas lines, there's so many utilities, they weren't able to put rain gardens in. So Jamie's reached out to some other residents in town. But we had a spot on 225th Avenue that works out perfect. So I'm hoping that we can set an example. It'll give the city an idea of what a rain garden can look like. I just got the design, just recently, within the last couple of weeks, and it's a big deal. I think it'll be a good pattern for what's to come. And then the other big one that should have been fixed years ago was I'm sure you've driven up Rum River Boulevard and between the school and the highway there, it had all the anacondas in there and all that. Yeah, it's terrible, right? So that's been bothering me for years. And this gave me the opportunity to work with the school hand in hand. So we literally are working together on it. And that project's gonna start here within a month or so. So, and this is all stormwater stuff, and there's more to come. I don't want to speak of anything that we haven't actually got in progress yet, but that it's quite a bit this summer. So we're really making it move. And with Gen Health, it's really starting to shake. So.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to get out there, because like I say, where's that money go? Where's that money go?
Absolutely.
They're gonna start to see where some of that is, so that's good for them and us and everybody involved. Thank you, and with that, we'll move on to council member reports. Let's start with Kevin.
It's been a busy couple of weeks, but I attended the JLIC meeting on 26th of July. The mayor was mentioned a post, how do you say a post? The mayor was mentioned by several of his colleagues there at the meeting and some remembrance, so that was interesting, and I went with the chief. It was very educational. I thought it was another meeting, and it was interesting, and I enjoyed going to it and learned a lot more. And actually, years ago, I did a couple others, but it's good to see a community work together, a lot of cohesiveness there. It's not very much politics involved there. These guys and gals are there for a reason and to solve problems. And it's interesting, one individual, she's actually a mayor of a town, and she's also a deputy sheriff for Hennepin County. There were some other people, there was some other occupations that are intermingled in the law enforcement at night and something different by day. And anyway, it was really enjoyable. I appreciate being the opportunity to go. Then on the 27th, we had the bid numbers reviewed by Stahl. We had a meeting with Deb and her crew and went over the numbers, and it was a pleasant surprise that again, it came under budget, somewhat under budget. And it was neat to see when a couple of us got to go to the bid opening at their office, and then actually see it in a condensed form, and they scrutinized the numbers and broke them down and trying to get the highest and best value for the city. And that was neat to see the final outcome on that. The night Sarah and I both took a dose of water or two. We've been told that we're all wet. We really were all wet that night. It was kind of funny. I brought a beach towel and I wore shorts and a shirt, and it was raining when the event started. So it was like, we're already wet. And it was a really nice rain anyway. But I want to say kudos to the fire department. The water in that tank was warm. It was a tepid, I bet it was 71, if not a degree more, but they must have left it in the tank or so. Thank you very much for that. It was kind of just beginning frigid down and it was contrary. With Peter for it. Yeah, so that was very nice. But later on, one of the police officers took his turn on the tank, and his family members got off the bat, and during that in exchange, they dumped 2 or 3 chests of ice cubes in there for him. So Sarah and I got that look for sure. I also attended the Bethel fire meeting. We're still in negotiations with the city of Bethel of assuming or taking over their fire department. They have some attrition and things going on in their department that they're taking over. And again, a community of 400 plus people, they need a fire department. They've reached out to us as a neighbor. Hopefully we're building a model of something that can work for other communities nearby that are on our borders. It remains to be seen, but we're working on some of the economics of it right now. Not that we wouldn't help anyway, it's a little more different than mutual aid, but an extra contract for service for starters. And then we had a work session last week for some interviews for the fill position. My congratulations to the Mayor Newbauer. And now we'll have a position posted and open for a council seat to be filled as well, vacancy. So other than that, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
I attended the 19 nights, and yes, a few people did enjoy dunking me a little bit too much. But he said he'd get back in the tank and let me have a chance, and he did not. So there's next year, Kevin. There's next year. And then I attended the special meeting work session. And Joe, I'm very happy that you are our new mayor, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. My report would be, I attended the special meeting as well. IG night as well. Interesting seeing you two in the dunk tank. I'm happy to see other council members participate in those kind of things. Seeing a few of the officers in there was really cool too. And everything that staff did through the whole event was awesome. So thank you guys for that. Other than that, I think I gotta take the title with a grain of salt a little bit. It's the way I look at it is it's doing the same work I was doing before. I just get more blame for it now. Which is fine. You know, I look forward to serving out Steve's turn. Getting will be greatly missed. With the building thing too, I think it's something that we do need to do. We do need to move forward with it. Something we have to do at this point in the game anyway. Regardless of the time frame, one can argue that there's never a good time. If we waited 2 years, the price goes up. All that money we saved goes down the drain anyway, so I think we're doing the right thing, but moving forward, at this point in the game. So I look forward to that, and then, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Bradway, do we have a second?
I'll second here.
Second by Robinson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried, meeting adjourned.